Now, the next in line for the self-studying program is creating your what we call an MVP. It's short for minimal viable plan. And this is very necessary in that nothing good happens without writing it down. I think we've all heard that, right? If we have a goal, we write it down. Any idea that we have, we write it down. Um, Same thing goes for your English, right? If you don't write down what your goal is, what your target is, what you're going to be doing each day, nothing will happen really. So this is part of your foundations, right? And I cover that in this training video on how to create your plan and how do you write down what you're doing and how do you track your performance and how do you reflect on what you did the past week? How do you write down what you'll be achieving the next week? So all of these things uh, comes in the form of minimal viable plan.
You will have created your clear goals, and it's going to become clear what you're after, and also what is at stake. What is at stake with achieving this English fluency? What comes after that is your daily routine. So first thing you want to do here from top to bottom is write down your big goal for 2019 or your yearly goal, right? What are you after? What's your target? And I'm sure your coach will know. So if you have a hard time figuring out what your goal would be, well, discuss this with your coach. And your coach will have a plan for you, and that plan will accommodate your goal. So that big goal is the first thing you want to write down, and then you work down. You go to your monthly goal. What is your weekly goal? All of this is very important, and this comes from that SMART goals worksheet that we've done prior to even starting the MVP. Right? We've got your why, we've got your SMART goals, and now we're putting it into the MVP. And then we've got your weekly plan here. So what this basically means is your daily action items throughout the week. So for Monday, it could be, for example, if you have a speaking session with your coach, it could be speaking session with Coach Don, right? And it's always good to put in the actual time allotted. So this would be 1 hour, right? Maybe also on Monday, you're doing your Anki, right? Because Anki is a big part of what we do here. So maybe you're doing Anki for your article that you read, right? So Anki for article. Maybe that's taking you about 15 minutes. And if you don't know yet, I mean, our website, we have the article database. And if you filter by Anki, you can find articles that have Anki decks made for it, right? And for each article, we've got about 20 flashcards in the Anki deck. So if your coach is selecting articles that have Anki decks already made, well, you'll be reviewing the Anki deck after class, right? Or even before class. So Monday, you've got your speaking session with your coach. You're reviewing the Anki deck for the article. Maybe that's taking you 15 minutes. On Tuesday, maybe you're doing the benchmark speaker, and that's a big one for us, right? You're picking out a benchmark speaker, whether it's in your industry, sector, your job function, whether it's maybe a hobby that you enjoy, whatever it is, you've got a benchmark speaker. And that can come in the form of a YouTube video, a Netflix drama. So that you would put in, right? So maybe you're doing, and granted, you've already picked out your benchmark speaker with the help of your coach. And just for example's sake, we're doing maybe Jack Ma. YouTube video. And maybe the video is about 10 minutes. Okay. And my recommendation is actually have it in the MVP. So select it, link it to the YouTube video that you have. So it's all in one place, right? That's just my recommendation. And a lot of our students are doing that. So you're watching Jack Ma's YouTube video. And again, Anki's here. Anki for Jack Ma's YouTube video. And what that basically means, without going further into it, because that will be explained to you in the next, or in the training video that goes into how to create Anki Next for your YouTube or for your benchmark videos. You're actually reviewing the words and phrases from the video using Anki, right? So it's not just watching a benchmark speaker video and that's it. You're watching the video in the purpose of taking the words and phrases that you can actually use in your career, right? In your own life. And to do that, we're actually building an Anki deck. So if that doesn't sound clear to you, it will in our future training video. But I'm just filling this out as you would if you've completed your MVP. So right now we're on Tuesday. Wednesday, it could possibly be read article for Friday session. And that can take you 45 minutes. So if your session then is on Friday, right? You're saying on Wednesday, I'm going to read so I can prepare for my Friday class, because on Thursday, you can't do any training. Maybe Thursday is your day where you just can't do any training. So Thursday is off. So that means the only really day that you have is Wednesday to prepare for the speaking session. Or if Wednesday is not the day, then maybe it's Friday before class, right? Love that. Maybe you're an early bird and you like to wake up early in the morning, prepare for the session by reading the article, then head into class, right? Everyone's got a different schedule, different studying pattern. This MVP is just writing it down and sticking to it, committing to the plan, right? Everything is done better when you write it down as opposed to, oh, I think I'll do it tomorrow. Oh yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll do my Anki. So for those type of students that just think of it in thin air and say, oh, maybe tomorrow is a good day to do some training, 99.99% of the time it will not get done. It's just a fact, right? But if you write it down, the chances are of you doing it goes greatly higher. So this is just part of the process. And one key highlight I like to point out here is that think of this as your hypothesis, right? You're testing it out. This is never going to be final for you. You're still trying to figure out what days and what hours of the day is optimal for your training, right? So you want to figure things out and say, after you filled out your weekly plan, you've got your accomplished this week. So our students, what they do is on a Sunday or at the end of the week, Saturday or Sunday, they'll review their weekly items. They'll review what they've done or what they haven't done. And they'll reflect on it and they'll say, oh, on Monday, I didn't do the Anki for the article. So you'll have to think why. Why wasn't I able to do that, right? When you start thinking, you're able to figure out what worked for you and what didn't work for you. So that means the week after, you can make the iterations, the proper iterations, to make sure you're following through on your plan. Now that could only happen, A, is if you write down your MVP, write it out, right? Write down what you're doing each day. And B, reflect on your past week performance and think of what happened, right? That is the only way you can actually optimize your plan and make sure you're sticking through your plan and building a habit, right? That's the goal here, is to build a habit and build a daily routine to further your English fluency. That's the self-study program that we have. So think of your MVP as your hypothesis of testing things out for yourself. And when things are final, after a few tries, you figured out, man, my mornings are the best times for me to train. I can never do it on afternoons. So I'm going to leave my afternoons out. Now, if you're a later person and can only get the training done after work hours, maybe it's after work and evening is your training time, right? Once you figure that out, and once you figured out your daily action items with the help of your coach, then we move on to your calendar map, right? The calendar map would be your final daily action items, and everything is a final piece of art, really. And whatever you have on your calendar map is you're sticking through it. You're not missing it. You're being consistent and making sure that whatever's on your calendar is being checked off. Similar to if you have a meeting and it shows up on your calendar, you're going to make sure that you attend it, right? So that's the mentality, is that whatever we have on the calendar is we're going to complete it, right? So just to finish this off here, accomplish this week, you will actually write down what you've accomplished throughout the week. So maybe this would be pages of the articles that you've read. Some of you are reading a book. Maybe it's the book, right? So write that down, right? 5 pages. And this would be for your article, right? If your article is 5 pages. For the Anki words, maybe you did, just hypothetical, if you just did 100 words, write that down. The only way you would know what you've accomplished is if you actually wrote down what you were going to do throughout the week, because that's a record, it's a log, right? So then you just write everything down. And some of you guys are doing Audible chapters, and this could all be modified. This is just one example, right? One size will not fit all, right? Your plan will be completely different from another student. So what I'm showing you here is not going to be your plan, right? These columns could be changed. But the key point here is that you're writing down what you accomplished, right? Even speaking sessions, write it down. 2, right? And then you're doing the same thing for the month, right? Because then you can see what you accomplished throughout the week. You just tally that up and you total it into your monthly. And then you get the picture. We got the year.
With this MVP, you're going to know exactly what you're doing each day, the week, the following week. And you'll also know what you've done and what you've achieved, what worked, what didn't work. It's really putting on a scientific hat, right? You're testing out your hypotheses. You're saying, did this work for me? Did this schedule work for my English training? Is the morning schedule not working? Am I a late person? Do I like to work on my English training in the evening after work? Or am I an early bird? Do I like to get up in the morning and get through all of those English action items done first before I start work? Or do I study better on the go, right? When I'm commuting from home to work or from work to home. I mean, all these things you will know and start realizing with the implementation of your MVP, your minimal viable plan.